The following program is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Good morning, Central Valley. I am your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the most important hour of radio each week here on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing some rational thought to the crazy world that we live in and helping you to rebuild the Central Valley's housing and credit markets. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted advice. And that's exactly what you're going to hear every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on 105.9 The FM KMJ. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Craig. How's it going?
You know what? I haven't had my coffee this morning, and I just have to say that's not a good start to the morning.
I warned you. Decaf. I started the decaf thing. It's no good. It's no good.
Actually, I did it in homage to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we could all sleep together here at the studio on Sunday morning?
For some reason last night, I could not sleep. I laid in bed wide awake until midnight.
I want to ask now, was the coffee drank before you went to bed or when you got up this morning?
No, I know better than to drink it after like 5 p.m., so it's not a good thing. It's just not a good combo.
Yeah.
So just so you know, I feel your pain this morning.
I'm doing better, though. I'm getting used to it.
My wife was making me decaf for a little while there, and I'm just saying.
I know it doesn't have the ethanol or whatever you would call in it. However,
are they putting corn sauce in coffee
something.
now?
I'll tell you, the funniest part is when you hit Starbucks and you say, "Can I have a decaf?" Because they're like, they're used to like 15 extra shots and whatnot. They actually brew it 1 cup at a time.
Yeah, don't they? Though?
It's as fresh as it. No, honestly. It like takes forever to get a cup of decaf.
My wife asked for decaf recently, and she said, and it was like 6 p.m. and they said, "Oh, we stopped brewing it at 5." And I'm thinking, well, isn't that when you want to start brewing it just to start
decaf.
the day? Oh my gosh! Well, as always, that other voice, that bright and shiny voice that you hear in the studio with us, is our special guest host. It's our permanent special guest host, Michelle Pettistavali from Valleywide Homes in the studio with us. Michelle is a licensed realtor and a trusted friend.
Thanks, Gregor. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Well, the Real Estate Radio Network gives us the opportunity to reach so many people efficiently for 1 full hour each and every week. You're our captive audience. Don't touch that dial.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have to be. Thank God they choose to be.
Exactly. Well, our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market so we can help bring you
back home.
My wife asked me, she says, "Did you mean to do that?" All the pauses and all the little things. She was listening to the show.
We're just perfectly
this is like
time.
Like her second time of listening to the show. I told her, I'm not going to let you listen anymore. Did you mean to do that? I said, yeah. Why? Okay. It's for
opposites attract, Craig.
Yeah, okay. for theatrical. Okay.
Is she going to come do my hair for the show?
I don't know.
That's all I want to
know.
know.
You better talk to Kate. Kate has more pull in that area.
Oh,
does
she?
You know.
Kate Island.
Awesome. Well, I'm extremely excited about today's show. We really have a lot of. Last week's show was really good. We talked about.
I loved
You didn't build that. We talked about the LIBOR scandal.
Yeah.
There was a lot of information that we talked about.
I love the energy stuff, though, because I really, truly felt like Kate shared a lot of good stuff that's happening in our country when it comes to that. Like, people are moving forward to be less dependent. And I found that to be very uplifting considering what the other stuff that's going on out there. So
Michelle's talking about Kate Island from UBS Financial Services, our local investment expert. And really, you've got a really good point. It is exciting to talk about energy independence from OPEC.
Yes.
As well, it does. There are opportunities there.
Right.
Making sure that you're paying attention, as you mentioned, that your investment portfolio is diverse, that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. But when you think about energy, sometimes we're so focused on the short term that you need a person like that in your corner to make sure that you're paying attention to. So what's coming? And there's a reason why UBS came out with that report about energy independence and exactly where we are heading in the energy sector. really important to pay attention.
I thought it was great, and I thought it would be great. I mean, it's going to be great information going forward for those folks out there considering those types of investments, to know that they're here in the U.S. now, and we're focused in that direction to have clean, good energy created. I think it's great.
Yep, perfect. Well, we're going to take a couple things we're going to do as far as housekeeping is concerned. We're going to take a look at some of the top stories in the news. We're also going to take a look at how will you, as an agent, market my home? Not you specifically, Michelle, but if you are an agent, how are you going to go about marketing my home? If I'm
You're not letting me list your home?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Actually, you need to talk to my wife first. Or if you're an agent, how should I market my listing? And we're going to give you some helpful tips. We're also going to take a look at more listener questions, and we've got quite a few great listener questions. It's actually quite difficult to pare them down to 3 or 4. The questions keep getting better and better. Make sure you stay with us. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that you hear on our show, call us anytime at 800-979-3958. We'd so love to hear from you. You can also check out our resources online, and you can listen to past shows, Michelle, from the Real Estate Radio Network on YouTube by going to our website at reofresnohomes.com. One thing I got to say here real quick, when we talk about our website, I was mentioning last night, this morning, it seems like every single day, there is so much traffic that it keeps going to our website. Number one, it's a great resource as far as if you want to see, hey, what's part of our inventory currently.
Right.
It's also a great resource if you're looking to find your new home. You can sign up to have listings emailed directly to you based upon the criteria. And this is your criteria that you set up in the system. It'll email you live active listings. If they're pending, it will change, the status will change from pending to sold and so forth.
Right. Well, and I think the benefit of having the internet for folks is they can do a lot of research and it not be intrusive into their life. Like, they don't have to commit.
Sure.
Which I think is a big thing when people
kind of
fear the real estate industry's folks, because some are very aggressive. But I think this is a good way to explore and get a lot of information and not feel tied. They can go do that exploration and have questions. They can call us. And if they want our help, we're here to help.
Sure. Let you shop at your own pace. It's not going to be a situation where we're like camping on your doorstep after you set up
because
a search.
lot of it is time. Some people take longer time to figure things out.
Sure, certainly. Well, you can also friend us on Facebook by using Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valley Wide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keyword
KMJ, call Valley Wide.
to get connected to us anytime. We'd so love to hear from you. Well, you heard us mention Press 4. Press 4 is for all those times that you're away from your computer and you'd like to get information about our show by utilizing some of these keywords. All you have to do is go to the Press 4 website at Press 4, that's PRESS, the number 4.com, set up Press 4, or go to your app store and download the app and call into Press 4, say the keywords. It'll give us the opportunity to push information your way. Simple. If you haven't set up Press 4, my question is, why haven't you?
Exactly.
Super easy. Well, let's talk about today's hot property. Well, today's hot properties are brought to you by Perfect Home Inspections, residential, multifamily, or commercial. Call Jerry Schooley today for your perfect home inspection at 559-352-6941. Michelle, let's talk about the first hot property today. You've got a special infinity or liking for this particular property.
I do. It's a gorgeous property. 2371 North Hayes.
Seller's a doggone nice guy, too, by the way.
He's a great guy. 93723. So it's out at McKinley and Hayes.
What's that address again?
2371 North Hayes.
2371 North Hayes.
93723.
Okay, major cross streets?
McKinley and Hayes. It's going to be just past Polk.
Okay.
McKinley and Polk.
Gotcha.
Nonetheless, it's 2.5 acres. The pride that has gone into this yard is just unbelievable. It has a pool. We've got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home on the property, as well as a 2-car garage separate with a bathroom in it as well. There's a chicken coop. There's a dog run. There is a separate shop for
country living. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's gorgeous. And it's really secluded from everything around it, which is really nice. You feel like you're up in your own 500 acres based on the way this property is set up. So it's a great property. I've spent some time out there with the owner, and what a joy to be on that property. Nonetheless, it is available. $289 is our asking price, and I would love to show that to some more people, because we've had each Sunday, whether we've promoted it on the show or not, we've had at least a dozen folks through there on each day we've had it open, which is nice.
Fantastic.
So it's really a beautiful property. A lot of the neighbors are looky-looing, I think, right now because they want to see what really goes on at that property.
You always do get some pull as far as the
that's
neighborhood's
great.
concerned.
Good times.
Are you going to be at the property today?
I'm not going to be at the property today. However, they can enter the property with an agent. So if they want to make an appointment, I'm happy to take appointments for it. We do not have it open to the public today. You do need to go in with an agent between 1 and 4 today.
Gotcha. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
Today's second hot property is 5958 East Via Mar-a-Lago Drive, Fresno, California, 93727. Major cross streets south of Kings Canyon off Fowler. Fowler and Church are the major cross streets. This is a Granville gated community. This 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,663 square foot home was built in 2009, located in this gated community in Sunnyside, Sanger Unified School District. All this for only, and this property was appraised at $163,000.
Wow.
It is a HUD home. The FHA appraisal that was completed can be utilized for financing. It's completely 100% portable. The property is eligible.
The property's portable?
Well, no, not the property. The appraisal is actually
the appraisal
portable. Yes, exactly.
You lost me there for a second.
Eligible for owner-occupants only. There is a homeowners association. I believe the monthly homeowners association dues are $68. A bidding deadline for this particular property is daily at 11:59 Central Standard Time. Eligible for FHA financing and save yourself the cost of an appraisal report.
So tell me a little bit about, is it a large property, or as far as the property itself, not the home, but the actual property, or is it a smaller?
It's smaller.
So downsizing would be a good option for that.
Exactly. Or for someone that doesn't like an 8,000 or 9,000 square foot lot.
Yeah.
I believe the lot size is roughly in the 4,000 square foot range. So it gives you a little bit of a backyard,
a little bit
but let
less
me tell
to maintain.
you,
Perfect.
way less to maintain.
And have a gated community for $163,000. That's awesome.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And Sunnyside is growing so much. I tell you what,
it is.
with the freeway, with 180, as you're going east towards Sanger.
Isn't it gorgeous?
You're there. You're just in, because we've got listings in Sanger as well. You're to Sanger in
no time.
From Sunnyside. It's like 3 minutes, and you're there.
Yeah, and exactly. And you know what? I drove on it the other day to go to Kerman to a property, and then I went to Sanger for a property. And I'm like, wow, this is just skipping a jump. How quick you go back and forth. It's amazing.
It really is amazing.
Not to mention the views.
Yeah, the views aren't so bad.
Yeah, the mountains.
Well, if you'd like more information about today's hot properties, please give us a call anytime at 800-979-3958 or use press 4 keyword
KMJ Hot Property.
And we'll send you more information about this hot property right to your phone. Look for more hot properties each week right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Let's take a look at some of the stories in the news. Let's talk about HARP 2.0, the Home Affordable Refinance Program 2.0. You had something interesting.
Yeah, I actually got to go with a client, which I thought was kind of fun. It was like a little field trip. We were out looking at properties.
Like a little field trip. Did you guys take lunches?
No,
you didn't.
We spent the whole day together looking at some different properties around town for an investment he's making. But we had the opportunity to go sit down with his contact at Chase and evaluate his current mortgage on a rental property and actually go through the process of doing a HARP 2.0 for him. And it was a great experience.
Chase is doing a great job.
They have been calling and sending him letters. So if you are one of those folks out there that are getting those calls and getting those letters, it is absolutely imperative that you go sit down with him. Let me tell you how easy the process was. Kudos to them for one, putting a person in that chair who was really great to deal with.
Sure.
And then additionally, making the process very easy for those folks who are going to have to face that, whether it's on their personal property or investment. Nonetheless, they are not requiring an appraisal. They are using an AVM, which is an evaluation of the area.
It's an automated valuation model.
So they're not having to pay for an appraisal. They are giving them the interest rate reduction. On an investment property, I think he went down to 4.25%.
Wow.
Or something like that. And he also got a veteran's discount for having his DD 214, so it cost him $500 less than it would have cost the normal folk out there, which was great.
Yeah.
And then he bought the rate down from, I think, 4.75% to 4.5%, or 4.5% to 4%, one or the other, I don't recall.
Sure.
Nonetheless, he ended up out of pocket. The client's going to pay around $1,300, and they're rolling that into the new loan.
Sure.
But he was going down at least 2 points.
Fantastic.
He was saving $200 a month.
And so his reluctance to actually answer or call as far as those letters were concerned, he didn't.
I think it was a lack of understanding really, of what's going on. And unless you sit in front of the news, like I have a lot of busy schedule. I mean, I have to really seek out news because I'm not in front of a TV all the time. So there's some people, I think, who are just unaware of what really is transpiring out there based on the changes that have gone on this year.
Sure.
But yeah, so he took advantage of it. He has some other properties under some of the other institutions, so he's going to check on those, see how those go, if they're able to do that for him, as well as see what the process is like, because honest to goodness, it was very, very smooth and easy, and he only has like 3 documents he has to bring in order to move it forward, because they already have all of his information on record. So it's a very smooth, easy process.
And just to clarify, Chase was one of the 5 institutions that was part of the $26 billion state's attorney general's lawsuit.
Right.
Bank of America, Wells, Chase, Citi, and Ally Bank, formerly GMAC. I tell you what, sounds like
his loan was 6 years old.
Yeah.
So he's going to save $200 a month for the next 24 or 26. What did we decide? What was? Oh, gosh.
In terms of the number of years.
Yeah, I mean, 30 years at $200 a month definitely took away. I mean, it definitely supersedes the 6 years of payments. I mean, by far. So, I mean, he was just elated. And I don't recall, he and I were doing some numbers and crunching exactly how much he was going to save, but it was substantial.
Good deal. And if you are one of our listeners and you do have a mortgage that's serviced by Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, Chase, and Ally Bank, formerly GMAC, it's important, so important that you open those lines of communication with them and have the conversation. Where's my part of the bailout?
Right.
Keep in mind, Bank of America, we keep hearing grumblings, as part of their $885 million fine in lieu of, they're also talking about principal reductions. So if your loan is serviced by Bank of America, you need to get on the phone. And then let us know exactly how it goes. Well, let's, second thing I'd like to talk about, U.S. Olympic uniforms. And you brought this up. There was a big hubbub that was
it's horrible.
right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Ralph Lauren designed these uniforms, and there was a big flap over the fact that these uniforms were made in China. Take it away, Michelle. You had an interesting spin on it.
No, I just found it really interesting, and I actually heard this from some other folks out there. And the spin that they put on it was, I find it really interesting that the country that has loaned the United States more money than God, almost. I mean, I'm being facetious, but nonetheless, is the same country that created the uniforms or made the uniforms for the U.S. So where does our loyalty lie? Is it a situation where, you know, hey, thanks for all your help. Why doesn't your country take care of us for this? We appreciate your generosity.
And to give them back a little business, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because you have loaned us trillions and trillions of dollars.
Sure. Please don't. So call
which end of the spectrum are our listeners on? I'm curious to know. Yeah. Is it a situation? I mean, I'm sure that Ralph Lauren makes a good majority of their items in China because of the cost of producing things, right, wrong, or indifferent. Right. I don't have an opinion. I'm just curious to know what our listeners' opinion is. Right. I mean, I'd be curious to hear.
Which side of the argument do you want to be on?
Exactly.
Please don't call our notes due.
Well, it's just and honestly, if people want to get into the issues,
it's un-American, as Harry Reid stood on Capitol Hill in front of the cameras and said, you know, they should take those uniforms out and put them in a pile and burn them.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
After we have been leaning on China for what?
Yeah,
exactly.
And
the same.
Get us off the fiscal.
And then if you want to talk about exactly. And if you want to talk about the rights, the wrongs, and employment laws and what have you, let me tell you. They're doing something better than we are to be pulling that kind of industry into their countries. I mean, honestly, let's talk about this, Mr. Politicians.
Right.
You know, let's make it easy to do business here, and maybe we'll get the uniform business next time.
I think Capitol Hill was more worried about the political perception.
And the perception is, thanks, China, for bailing our fannies out. I don't know. I mean, sorry. That's my spin. I mean, I'm just saying both sides. I see both sides' points.
Sure.
But I am curious to know what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
I felt like it was very one-sided what we saw. Yeah. A lot of it.
Sure. So. In other words, give us a little time for the dust to settle, and we'll figure out that there's multiple sides to this particular.
Multiple sides to every story.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Absolutely.
Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions, or questions regarding the information or questions or comments that you have about the information you hear on our show, call us anytime at 800-979-3958. We'd so love to hear from you. You can also check out our resources online, and you can listen to past shows from the Real Estate Radio Network on YouTube by going to our website at reofresnohomes.com. ForEcLosure.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keywords.
Friend Valleywide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valleywide.
To get connected to us anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, coming up, how will you, Mr. or Miss Agent, market my home? Or if you're an agent, pay attention, agents. If you're an agent, how should I market your listing? Should I just let the market do it all for me right at the moment? I think not. Make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valleywide help. Valleywide Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free, 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valleywide Homes to work for you. Valleywide Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, Michelle, we said that after the break, we were going to come back and talk about. So, if you're an agent and I'm a seller, tell me exactly, how are you going to go about marketing my home? I want to get this sucker sold. And fast. What are you giggling about?
Oh, I just think that's apropos for this day and age as far as the environment we're working in.
Well, it kind of is what we're all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But, I mean, this week alone, I had how many agents going, gosh, I wish there were more houses on the market. Yeah. Gosh, so this is important stuff, actually.
It's kind of appropriate because if you're, number one, if you're a seller, you should be concerned about how your property is going to be be marketed in today's market. Not just let the market do the work for you. In other words, the market is the muscle right at the moment. But there are certain things and certain ideas that we think are really important to make sure we get out there and let you know, hey, here's some of the things that you need to do in order to get traction.
And one of the things I think is interesting is looking at the agents, looking at their goal. I mean, what's the goal? I mean, it's often, and I kind of laughed about it last week. Is it to sell your home or is it to collect clients? Because I think I mentioned it last week. I really, truly, at my open houses, do not have a piece of paper out for people to sign in. Yeah. Because I feel like that scares them a bit. If that's not there, they feel free to come and actually look at the home, and the home is the focus versus
as opposed to
my mailing list being the focus.
Right. That is a really good point, because if you do have.
And not that I'm not a marketing guru and love to do that. However, I like to ask their permission. Hey, if that's a question you'd like me to get back to you on, let me take your name and number and I'll call you. So the follow-up is not something I don't want. I desire that. At the same time, I want it to be an engaging process and not necessarily a, here's number 4 on my list.
Right. As a seller, making sure that you understand, is it really your agent's goal to sell your house or collect clients? And that is something an astute seller might figure that out.
Because we all are, I mean, we're all out there to make a living, and we do service both sides of the spectrum. So I do think it's important to find somebody who has the resources and the background and the support to sell your house appropriately.
Sure. Even in today's market, when we have roughly a little over 1,300 active listings, which is less than 2 months inventory, it's so important not to get complacent as a seller as well as a listing agent, and make sure that you don't let the market be the muscle for you when it comes time for marketing your property. Correct. How do I get the word out? How do I make sure that, because realistically, with inventory being what it is right now in Fresno County, there's not an issue selling property. There really isn't. If the property is priced right, if there's great amenities, if there's very appealing features in terms that it has been updated, it's in a great school district, let me tell you, it's going to sell, and you're probably going to get multiple offers on it. But it's so important not to be complacent and allow the market to be the muscle. And I keep saying that because you could put it on Fresno Multiple Listing Service or any multiple listing, Tulare County Multiple Listing Service or Madera MLS. And honestly, it's going to sell if it's priced. If
Correct.
it's priced right. And that doesn't mean at a discount. That means priced right as far as the market's concerned. Right. It will sell. But how much exposure do you want? Are 6 offers enough? If you do a great job of marketing the property, you should, and the property is priced at market or somewhat better based upon the amenities, based upon condition of the property, based upon location, you should be able to get top dollar for that particular property. But one thing I wanted to say real quick, it's extremely important, and I know this might sound odd in today's market. Number one, as a seller or as a buyer, it's extremely important that you have a computer. And I know it might sound odd.
Or access to a computer. Your sons, your sisters, your somebody.
Correct. At the very, very least, you need to have access to a computer. Secondarily, every day. Because the market does move that fast. It really does. You'll get left behind if you haven't looked at your email for 3 days because there's listings that are out and now have accepted offers on them.
Right.
And you didn't get an opportunity to even look at the property. Secondarily, it's also important to make sure that you have an email address. You can't afford not to have an email address. So if you don't have a computer by chance, you've got to have an email address because it's extremely important that as a listing agent or as a selling agent that your buyer has access to those listings that they're trying to push out to you that just come on the market so you can jump on it because there is no rest for the weary.
Right. Well, and it can be very disappointing if you don't.
The market moves so fast.
Yeah, because every day we have to look and see if that house is still available. Every moment. I can see it this morning, and then by the end of day, it's gone.
Right.
So it's important that be a good avenue for conversation with your agent. They can let you know ASAP. You can talk to them ASAP about something you see. Not only that, even just sending them listings. We talk about it every week about sending people that information that they desire. It's very, very difficult to do without technology anymore.
Sure.
I mean,
you're really
dialing the phone every time something changes is really not advantageous for the agent or the client.
Right, or very efficient. That's for sure. Well, let's talk about this real quick. Whether you're a large company or a small company, whether you're a seller or whether you're a listing agent, it's extremely important that you listen to this. As an example, and I'm just using Fresno Multiple Listing as an example because our signal reaches quite far. You're talking Tulare County, Kings County, Madera County, and farther south and farther north. Regardless of the association that your property is located in, you have the power of that association to work for you. So in Fresno right at the moment, we contacted the local association. There's roughly about 3,000 active agents in the Fresno Multiple Listing Service in Fresno County. And those agents could be in Madera, they could be in Kings, they could be in Tulare counties. You've chosen to be a member, an active member of this particular association. Those agents are part of your sales staff, and every single day, I think it's so important to note, it's incumbent upon me as a broker to make sure that I'm answering my phone, to make sure that I'm creating goodwill amongst agents, that customer service is top of mind, so that those folks, when they see one of our listings, that they know in the future, wow, that's one of Craig's listings, or that's one of Valleywide's listings. I love working with the team over at Valleywide, or London, or Realty Concepts, or Guarantee. There's a lot of there's a lot of great companies in town. My point is this. It doesn't matter whether you are a mom and pop or whether you are one of the larger companies in town. You still have the power of the association to work for you. So, and I say this to make sure that I let the sellers know, it's not about how big you are.
No.
It really isn't. If you're wanting to get your property moved, you do have, it's more, the devil's in the details in terms of how are you going to move my property, how are you going to market my property, not who you work for.
Correct.
And there might be some agents that work for some larger companies that say, well, why should I, there's a great thing working for, company ABC. Well, that's great. That's all great. But you're putting a lot of faith in something that you need to focus on the next things that we're going to talk about as far as exactly. Again, the devil's in the details. Let's talk about some of the ways that you can go, whether you're a seller or whether you're a listing agent, and you can market a property. There's some great publications here locally, here in the Central Valley. Guide to Better Homes.
Home and Ranch.
Phenomenal. Bill at Guide to Better Homes does a great job. Great publication. Great layouts. really does a great job as far as that. And you can pick those up at so many different locations.
How often does that one come out, Craig?
Each of the publications. No, each of the publications comes out roughly once a month.
Once a month. Okay.
There's also Home and Ranch Magazine.
Yep, another good one.
Casey and Carolyn up the hill in Oakhurst do a phenomenal job. You get a tremendous as far as the number of publications that go out here in the Central Valley.
So let's talk about the publications. I mean, when they create those publications, first of all, you want them to look nice, which they do.
Sure.
Both those companies do a great job. Where are they putting them? And that's the next question. Just because you have your advertisement out there, you want it to be distributed. And those folks both distribute valley-wide.
Certainly. They've got each of them have distributors that make sure that they're placing those magazines, typically at places where you get high traffic. Primarily in front of a Save Mart or a Vaughn's, but it's high traffic areas.
Sure.
And every single week, I can't tell you I don't know the specific numbers right off the top of my head, but I can tell you this: that both of those publications, typically on average, and it depends upon the time of the year, because certain times of the year, like as an example, this time of year is a very busy time of the year.
Yeah.
We have a specific phone number for each publication, as well as each type of sign that we have, if it's a HUD Home sign, or if we have a specific phone number if it's email marketing. We have a specific phone number for each type of marketing, as we do for the show here. We can track. And typically, on average, we're getting roughly about 100 calls a month from each publication.
Nice.
So the question is, does it work?
Yeah, absolutely.
I get Bill or Casey coming to me if they've got someone that's thinking about advertising and wants to see numbers, and they can take a look at here's what Valleywide does as an example, or you could look at any other company, but we track it based upon the numbers, and we're responsible for tracking it every single month, and we can definitely say, proof's in the pudding.
Nice.
It gets the phone to ring. So if you're, again, a seller or a listing agent, perfect example. Craigslist. Some people might ask, why is Craigslist such a big thing? Let me tell you. Craigslist is a free advertising source that there's a number of flyers that you can publish to Craigsource to drive traffic to your website, to drive traffic to your listings. I'm
great.
just saying.
I love it.
It's named after me. So.
Oh, is that?
I actually.
You created it?
Yeah, I created it.
You lie.
Craigslist. You don't get it?
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it, silly
How about
goose.
Press 4? Press 4, we use Press 4 as far as marketing our hot properties every single show. Press 4 is a great way to push information about a specific property or multiple properties out to the consumer. Email marketing, again. As far as technology is concerned.
Technology's it. Got to be there.
You got to be there. Got to be there. Open houses. Effective open houses. Pre-marketing the open house, making sure that you're getting the word out that you're going to be out there. You can market in the Fresno Bee. There is an open house section in the Fresno Bee that publishes when you are going to be there. If you're going to be there this Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 4. Great way and reasonable as far as the cost is concerned. And again, I say this, as a listing agent, now's not the time to be skimping just because there's a lot of muscle in the market, meaning that inventory is so low and simple economics and supply and demand takes over. Now's not the time to rest on your laurels and not do the marketing. Really, seriously.
Well, because the market is so volatile. I mean, it goes up and down. I mean, we're cyclic. When it goes up or down, whose name do you want them to recall?
Well, and you better have your advertising out there, and you better make sure that as far as your marketing presentation, effective marketing, it is so huge. How about your website? If you're a real estate company, it's extremely important to have a website that has timely as well as accurate information with regards to a specific listing or all the listings that your company has, as well as the ability for clients to be able to go onto your website and actually sign up and search so that they can see what's out there as far as the association or what's out there in that market. Kind of a nice thing that we have here, it's called the Real Estate Radio Network. We advertise hot properties on the Real Estate Radio Network, and it helps, trust me, it helps and creates a tremendous amount of leverage as far as a seller is concerned.
Oh, absolutely. Exposure.
Yeah. Newspaper. Let's talk about newspaper real quick. Still big. Still a how should I say, as far as a resource is concerned, definitely viable. It is a resource. It is, do people tend to, do they spend as much time or are there as many subscribers to newspapers? It's not the end all. Let me tell you, anymore nowadays, it's an important part of the equation, but it's not the end all that I think folks used to look at.
Correct. I think it is an important piece of the market of real estate, but not necessarily maybe specific to that house.
Sure.
I think it gives people a really good idea of what's going on out there, and they can watch as prices fluctuate for certain areas. I think it keeps marketing names in front of them, different companies' names in front of them,
Good
so
for
that
exposure.
visibility, correct.
And visibility. There you go.
Absolutely. So I do think it's advantageous for us as an industry to be in the newspaper. But as far as each individual listing, I'm not sure how productive it is for that individual, if that makes sense.
Sure,
Does that make
most
sense?
definitely. Let's talk about flyer boxes as well. And I know you've got some feedback as far as flyer boxes are concerned. Great traffic.
Exactly.
And extremely important. You put a little, and I don't want to say bait, but a little information about the property out there as far as the buyers are concerned. So many times it's just a matter of getting the opportunity to speak with a buyer and create a little rapport, and in time, hopefully develop some trust so that you can get some basic information to them about that particular property. And next thing you know, you might have an offer on that property, or if not that particular property, maybe they've just begun the process of trying to get educated about what I can afford in today's market. And well, that might not be the right property for me. But Michelle, could you show us something else after we've gotten pre-approved?
I find it's very effective for me to let the public know prior to the open house a few days, hey, we're having an open house at this house. The looky-loos, the neighbors, everyone needs to be aware that that's going to be happening.
Well, the neighbors want good neighbors to come in as far as their property is concerned. Did you know that Bill and Sherry down the street are selling their house?
And do you know what they're selling it for? Because that's always curious.
I heard they're selling it for $179. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think the kids would want to put an offer on it?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
it's that kind of
maybe
talk.
they want to move here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of talk we want.
Well, it's interesting because I have a good friend that one of the things that he does, he buys and flips homes. He buys them at the courthouse steps typically, rehabs them, and then flips them. And one of the things that he does is he will canvass the neighborhood with postcards. And typically he'll pick some cutoffs as far as the streets are concerned. I don't want to go any farther north than this, or east or west than this, or south than this. And then he'll have someone go out and distribute those postcards. Really nice, full-color postcards, two-sided, and let folks know when he's going to have an open house. Great traction.
Well, I don't know about you, but I would kind of like to know who's going to move in next door and get to know them, or maybe recommend. So that's where it's really, really great to be able to use your neighborhood. People want other people like them in their neighborhood. Sure. I mean, they want their brothers, their cousins, their friends. They want to be able to have, the Super Bowl party on the block, etc. And so people are automatically talking about it when they know about it.
Right.
And it's great.
Right. Or dropping flyers at your local apartment complex. So many times there's folks, and keep in mind in today's market, so many folks that are in apartment complexes, or maybe even renting a single-family home right at the moment, at least renting or leasing a single-family home, were folks that unfortunately lost their home in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. And keep in mind, you've only got to be on the sideline. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. If you lost your home, you've only got to be on the sideline for 3 years from the date that the property went back to the original servicer or the investor. So
it's not very long.
No, not very long
Time flies,
at all.
boy.
You got that right. Again, if you do have any questions about the information that we've talked here, that we've spoken about on the show, with regards to whether you're a seller or whether you're a listing agent, on how you're going to go about marketing my home, give us a call anytime at 800-979-3958. We'd love to hear from you. You can also check out our resources online, and you can listen to the past shows from the Real Estate Radio Network on YouTube by going to our website at reofresnohomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press4 keyword.
Friend Valleywide on Facebook.
Or use Press4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valleywide.
To get connected to us anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, coming up, we're going to talk about some real unique situations among sellers that we have encountered lately, and thought it'd be important to get you in the loop. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network here on 105.9, the FM KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valleywide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing investment property, let the experts at Valleywide Homes help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Visit our website at reofresnohomes.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals of Valleywide Homes to work for you.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, Michelle, in every market, we are going to encounter, and especially in the last 5 or 6 years, we've encountered all sorts of really unique stuff. And I always say never. Every single day, we're making history. Every single day is a new experience. But let's talk about some of the most unique scenarios and situations that we've encountered as of late that I think it's important that we discuss.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going through this.
Yeah, the first one's divorce, which, some of us have experienced. Not fun for anyone.
No one. It doesn't matter which side you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
ugly.
good.
But then you add this housing market to the equation.
And, the housing, it's important that you say that. The house could be a part of the problem.
Could be.
It could, if it's not a part of the problem, it's going to be part of the problem before it's over.
Yes,
it
exactly.
really is.
Yeah, one way or the other. I mean, unless you own your house free and clear, but even if you do, you still have to split it.
Well,
so, again...
I guess it's a good problem to have in this particular instance.
I suppose.
But
divorce is just not good.
Yeah.
Okay, but on to the housing market.
There's going to be a difference in opinion. Let's just say that. Regardless of whether it's free and clear or whether you owe money on it, there's going to be a difference
Someone
in
wants their chunk. A bigger chunk than the other,
and
usually.
I want it now.
I want it now.
Yeah.
Well, I came across a great client. House was purchased a few years ago. I think maybe 2009, so not that long ago, for over $600,000.
That's a big number.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
They owe in this divorce on the house about $300,000.
Okay.
So they put some substantial equity into the transaction when purchasing.
That's always a hard thing to swallow, especially in today's market, because the perception or I shouldn't say the perception is. Perception oftentimes is that the house is worth close to what I paid for it. And just the simple fact that I could potentially be losing money as far as this deal's concerned.
Correct.
Is hard to swallow.
So, and in comping the property in the area, we're looking at maybe $280,000.
Okay.
That's what's going on in the area. That doesn't mean it's the same equivalent house. I'm no appraiser. I'm just using general comps to kind of see what's going on out there.
Just general numbers in order to get
the
a
house is
handle
amazing, guys. I mean, the house is 5 acres in the hills. I mean, it's a gorgeous, glorious house, and it was built. It was completed 6 months before they purchased it. So we're talking brand new house.
Yes.
Nonetheless, it's a divorce situation. So if they owe $300,000 and comps are about $280,000, we're a little upside down, not too much.
Sure.
But in a divorce situation, what's the answer?
Right.
What is the answer? So currently, I mean, we're exploring an appraisal. So an appraisal is being done currently to kind of finalize what the true value in this market looks like.
Because you've got to determine, number one, what's that value? And is it a value that's acceptable to both of you? So if, unfortunately, real estate is part of the equation and you are getting a divorce, there's what's called a property settlement agreement, and this is a big part of it.
And I've seen some settlement agreements where someone will wait till the children are grown and then address the property at that point. I've seen a lot of different ways that this can work and not work, but nonetheless, it's coming to terms, and everybody being happy at the end is probably not going to happen.
Sure.
Because someone's living in the property and happy to stay, and the other person's like, I know it's got to be valued more, I want my chunk.
Right.
So you're dealing with some animosity in addition to an ugly market that has not, helped
it hasn't
them.
been nice to people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. Well, let's talk about forced relocations.
Another client we have, forced relocation. They're moving over to the coast. Sorry to hear.
I was going to say.
I'm a little jealous, but nonetheless, they've only owned their house.
How can you force somebody that's really willing to
go to the coast, right? But they bought a brand new house, brand new custom built house, not custom, custom builder here locally in one of their neighborhoods. House is just under a year old, not even a year old. And let me tell you, this house has bells and whistles. It's gorgeous. A gorgeous, gorgeous house. Crown molding all the way around. I'm standing on the carpet. They're like, feel the carpet, feel the carpet. It has memory foam in the carpet. I mean, it's just an amazing, amazing property. It's gorgeous. But there again, we're about $20,000 upside down for what the builder is selling those houses for right now.
They're being forced to move just for the simple fact that work. Mm-hmm. Their current job is relocating them to the coast. Good problem to have.
Yeah.
I'll take that any day right at the moment.
But is your salary going to make up for the $20,000 you're going to lose on that house? That's what you have to figure out. And if you don't have the resources,
and in normal, I say in a normal market, you see a relocation company would come in because of the employer, would take over the property, liquidate the property, and disperse whatever, and might take the profit or what have you. But it can happen any number of ways. But my point is this: that a relocation company is part of the process. Not happening here, especially when you're upside down. It is, and depending upon the company, depending upon the size of the company.
So now they have to look at, am I going to short sell it? Not really wanting to do that.
Right.
Are they going to rent it out? Brand new custom home, do you rent that out? And can you even make it make sense? How much are you going to have to put in to keep it rented and keep it maintained? Does it make... And then if you do short sell, then you have the issue of, how do I find new housing at the coast?
Right.
So there's a lot of little,
how is that going to affect
things.
Me?
Yeah, a lot of questions out there for them to get through.
Certainly. Yeah.
So we're working on it.
So let's talk about in a market where there's a lot of offers. One thing that I thought extremely important to note, you on one of your listings right at the moment, the last update, you said, I've got 11 offers on this property. Not uncommon.
And can I just say, that house was open for showings for 2 hours. I sat there at the house for 2 hours, and we got 11 offers, some of them sight unseen.
You probably felt like you were a security guard at the Smithsonian at that point.
It was kind of like that, absolutely. And to have 11 offers and to have to be telling 10 agents, I'm sorry, we've selected a different offer.
That was my point. Yeah. If you have 11 offers, there's 10 losers.
Yeah, and they'll feel that angst.
Yeah.
It's hard to get to a point where you feel confident making an offer as a client sometimes. You know, you're like hesitant. Is it the right one?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of questioning. Some people have a long time process that they go through before making an offer.
Right.
You don't have that kind of time right now. And to have 11 offers and me I'm telling some agents I've worked with for years, thank you, but we've accepted another office, and they're thinking, oh man,
what did I do?
I was hoping that this was it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, sorry guys, sorry.
And so many of those offers over asking.
Yeah. Correct. I think 2 out of the 11 were at asking.
Just remember, there's always losers and only one winner. Extremely important to note. That brings me to another point. Is my agent doing their job?
I get that a lot when I'm showing houses in an open house situation.
If you're one of those 10 losers, is my agent doing their job?
They are doing their job. Now, in looking at them in a comparative apple to oranges, because every offer's different, everybody can do a little bit different job.
Sure.
But those agents are, let me tell you, that property was only listed 4 days.
Yeah.
And I've got 11 offers. Yeah, they're doing their job. If you even knew about the listing, you were doing well. I mean, honestly, it's that kind of process right now.
I had a client that emailed me this morning and said, can we look at yada, 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 North so-and-so Avenue? I said, 11 offers.
Yeah, don't bother.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're going to go way over asking.
But not going to happen. Not realistic. Not in today's market.
No. But that tells you the kind of demand that's out there. If you think about it, for every house, 11 offers, 10 people still looking. Need some inventory out there, guys. If you at all are at that point where you're questioning, now is a great time to put it on the market.
Yeah. Whether you're upside down or not.
Exactly.
Not making a decision is still making a decision.
That's right.
Consumers talk about, another point to bring up, consumers talk about, is it hard to get financing out there right at the moment? And you know what, honestly? Getting financing is a perception. And it's no different today than what it used to be. It really is. And let me just speak to that real quick. It is no different than what it used to be. It's not difficult to get a financing. Now, granted, there's not what we call the fast and easy. That was a countrywide product. It was 97% loan to value.
And where are they? There's a big tombstone somewhere with their name on it.
There is. Actually, that with Andrew Mazzillo standing behind it. Looking all... okay, I won't go there. Their portfolio is hanging with B of A right at the moment because the former B of A CEO was forced into a corner to take this deal to make it work, to offload all the bad, what they consider to be all the countrywide paper. It's not any more difficult today.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, we're still evaluating on the lending side, and correct me anywhere I might be wrong. We're still evaluating credit. So 620, 640, 660, somewhere there and
safe.
up is safe.
Some lenders will go lower than that,
But it's all going to be based on the buyer at the secondary market income. We're all still looking at incomes. The ratios are still under 50%.
Yep,
you've got a chance to
no
buy a
difference
house.
There. No
right,
difference
nothing's
there.
changed, and then cash to close.
That's right.
Down payment and closing costs haven't
3%,
changed either.
3%, 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever it is, has to be sourced, has to be seasoned in your bank account.
Correct.
Can't
so
be
we're
in a
looking
mattress.
at maybe the same environment lending as we were in the 80s, as far as other than rate. I'm talking about the requirements. 90s.
I would say even before 2001.
Okay.
No stated income products out there.
Okay.
Right at the moment. No ratio. No income, no asset, no employment type of products out there. Eventually, the secondary market will gain an appetite because this is all cyclical. As to how aggressive an appetite that they will develop, I don't know, because again, these are some of the variables that helped contribute to the perfect storm, that helped get us too many folks at the curb, access to financing that they may not, or maybe shouldn't have had access
Kind of like the Depression, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like the Depression of the... Yeah, okay, anyways, moving right along.
Exactly. So my whole point was this. It's not that hard to get a loan. It really
it's not brain
isn't.
surgery.
No, it isn't. And if you've lost a property, let's transition real quick. If you've lost a property to either short sale or foreclosure, that might be, or I shouldn't say that might be, that is probably the most common theme that I see when sitting down and underwriting a file or pre-underwriting a file is we short sold a property or we lost a property to foreclosure. So let's just get to the short and sweet of it. Number one, foreclosure. 3 years from the date the property went back to the servicer. And it's really, really important to note. It's really important to understand. So exactly when was that date? If you know that your house was going to sell at the courthouse steps at a specific date, whether it was an investment property, whether it was a second home, or whether it was, God forbid, your primary residence, it's 3 years from the date that it went back. The scary part is that I do see horror stories of properties where somebody moved out of the property and it's 18 months later and they still haven't, the lender still hasn't, or the servicer still hasn't taken the property back. It's still in their name, and there might even be a squatter in the property.
Right.
The unfortunate thing there is the clock does not start ticking until the property reverts back to the servicer. So let's talk about short sales real quick. With short sales, that can be, unfortunately, actually it's getting a little bit easier. Short sales are getting easier. Qualifying after you've short sold a property is getting easier with FHA right at the moment. As long as the pay history is current up to the point that you short sold the property, you can qualify for an FHA rather quickly right after the short sale. If you short sold the property and you were delinquent, then it is 3 years, just like a foreclosure. And I'm telling you,
that's less than
3
a
years.
BK.
3 years goes so much quicker. Now, granted, this is FHA financing.
Sure.
This is the most lenient type of financing that there is out there right at the moment. Conventional financing is for a bankruptcy, FHA bankruptcy 2 years.
Oh, it is 2 years.
It is 2 years. But with a bankruptcy, there's some pitfalls there because you have to reestablish credit and no additional derogatories after the bankruptcy, because again, if you do, that's considered financial mismanagement, meaning you never learned your lesson.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So conventional financing, it is 7 years as far as short sale, as far as foreclosure is concerned. It's way out there.
Wow.
So again, not so difficult to qualify for financing. Even if you do have a short sale or a foreclosure, there still is hope. There really still is hope. Well, let's talk about a couple listener questions, and I think it's extremely important. We get some great feedback as far as listeners are concerned. One of our listeners recently asked, this is Bill from Kingsburg, said, I tried to buy a home recently that needed a lot of work, and our agent told us that the seller was selling the home as is, and don't bring us an offer unless it was going to be cash. Well, obviously our offer was not cash. It was FHA financing. Can they really do that? And Michelle, talk about it real quick. We began to touch on this last week real briefly. 203K loans.
203Ks are a great, efficient, effective way to put FHA financing on a deficient property.
And a deficient property means that the property doesn't meet financing minimum property requirements,
Correct.
as FHA would call it.
Correct, and it could be something as minor as the trim on the house is peeling. You know, if FHA will not approve that house because of it, you can have that painted and get it all done at time of close. And they will allow you, they will allow you to borrow those funds on top of your home purchase. So it could be something as simple as that, or something as elaborate as
A new roof.
a new roof, revamping the house, new carpet, new paint,
Adding a room.
doors, windows, etc.
New windows,
exactly. So it's a very effective way to improve those deficient properties and get our neighborhoods back where they need to be.
It's just a matter of whether the seller is open to it. And unfortunately, if they've been in a transaction before, you don't find 203K financing is not a common type of financing, but it's common enough that if you know what you're doing, and you've had a little experience doing FHA financing, it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. And like I said, it's really a great way for non-investors to build up their neighborhoods. So, you know, it's good for your primary residence.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Get into a property, close escrow, complete your repairs.
Exactly.
Instant equity. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage related questions or questions regarding the information that you hear on our show, call us anytime at 800-979-3958. We'd so love to hear from you. You can also check out our resources online, and you can listen to past shows from the Real Estate Radio Network on YouTube by going to our website at reofresnohomes.com. To friend us on Facebook, use Press 4 keyword.
Friend Valley Wide on Facebook.
Or use Press 4 keywords.
KMJ, call Valley Wide.
To get connected to us anytime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, a big thank you to Michelle Pettiscavalli, my special guest host, for joining us today. Michelle, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
A big thank you to AJ behind the mic. AJ, you make us sound so good, buddy. Thank you so much. Again, our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market, so we can help bring you back home. Don't forget to tune into the Real Estate Radio Network next Sunday at 7 a.m. right here on 105.9, the FM KMJ. Make it a great day, Central Valley, and we will see you next week.
The preceding program was paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.